Hello, hello. Another gloomy day in Los Angeles. It is Monday. It rained most of the day yesterday, so everything's kind of wet. Oh, yesterday was Easter. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you had a good one. Hello, Maddie. Look at my hair doing the thing. Look at my camera doing the thing. That's better. At least slightly. You know what's weird? YouTube crops the video really strangely. There's more showing at the bottom than shows on my own phone. And there's less showing at the top than on my phone. It's like the whole thing is somewhat shifted. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yes. I hope everybody had a good Easter, though. Let's see, does the piano still show if I do it that way? If I do it that way? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Maybe to cut down on bandwidth, says Chuck. It just seems somewhat shifted instead of even shrunken. What? Amazing how the stream started when where I live it's 12:05. Yes, time zones are wild. Mongolian warrior. Chuck says, or Audrey? Maybe they use a more efficient codec to compensate the amount of internet users right now. Oh, maybe. There certainly are a lot of people on the internet right now. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Union Station, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I try to shy away from Signals songs when I can, but it's Monday, and I did stream 2 days ago. I streamed on Saturday. Hello, Tommy. Hi, Javier. says Gabriel. The song makes me think of Sea Breeze. It's a tangent from this song. This song. So I'm taking, and I'm taking out the second part, this part, and I'm just having the first part, and I'm going here. But I like it in that. Yeah, halftime. My glasses are dirty. Okay, sorry, I haven't talked much in the stream today. Guys, it is Monday. I had a decent weekend. It ended not as nicely as I would have liked for it to have ended, but I did blaze through the Rush Hour trilogy. Hadn't watched it in a very long time. I I love Rush Hour 1 and I love Rush Hour 2. And the weird thing about movies is when you watch them when you really, really love them, sometimes you're not able to have, like, what's the word? Objectivity for them. I'm not saying that those movies are bad in retrospect. I will say that 3 leaves a lot to be desired, but I'm not going to talk about Rush Hour 3. I think that. Have you ever watched a movie maybe so many times, or you are able to look at it with some level of objectivity, and you can see the scenes and the way they're spliced together, and like how quick and short and to the point the movie is? Sometimes when you're watching a movie for the first time, everything feels natural. It feels like there are conversations, there are actions, there are set pieces, there are chase scenes, or whatever. And everything is just kind of falling into place. And then when you look at it again and again and again, the movie starts to look more and more simple and rudimentary in its elements. And looking at Rush Hour 1 and 2 and now 3 in the same day, I was able to really break down the bare essentials of what makes those movies work and like tick. And in some ways it was kind of fascinating in a good way. And then in other ways it was like, oh, this like kind of sucks actually. But whatever, that's movie making for you. Again, anyways, if you're in the stream and you've been in the stream before and you've enjoyed it, please give the stream a like. That does help me, maybe more than you're aware of. It does help. Dean says, I remember a girl I was dating saying they didn't age well. Talking about the Rush Hour films. Well, Hmm. Did they not age well? I think the first one is timeless. I will say that. I think the first one is timeless. I think the second one is near timeless. Near timeless. I think the third one was never great. So it doesn't age well. But I think that the reason that somebody could say that they don't age well is that there are a lot of like references. Like there's like I guess a Chelsea Clinton reference in it. Things that date the movie into what specific time period it came out. Um, but I think the reason it feels like it ages okay to me is because of a lot of the stereotypes and the racist overtones that are played throughout the film, which is like um, Asian black racism, still very much exists, especially in my life because of where I live. So like looking at that movie, it was this kind of like, oh, things really haven't changed that much, have they? But I think that I appreciate that movie when it came out because I think, as far as I'm concerned, it was the first like it was the first of its kind. It was like we paired together a very, very stereotypically black comedian with a very stereotypically Chinese martial artist. It kind of worked out really well. I liked it. Anyways, I'm done talking about Rush Hour for this stream. Thanks, Mohammed. I'm glad that you liked the first two. I never watched the third one, though, says Mohammed. Oh, you're not missing much. I would recommend seeing it just so that you can have completion, so that you can see the full trilogy, but I would say that the first two are the stronger the stronger two-thirds, I guess, of the trilogy. Gabriel says, I've never heard about Rush Hour, but I think the film is just the same in music. As you grow, you learn to pick up things you didn't before, and as time goes on, your appreciation towards it grows more. Yes, or diminishes. Gabriel, for sure. Sometimes the more you know about something, it can make your appreciation of it diminish because a whole demystification can happen. A lot of what I do in these videos is trying to demystify music, right? People think that things just magically happen, but especially in art. But if you've been in the streams, even earlier in the stream today, I was coming up with that chord progression. And I feel like you guys saw me mess up on it several times. If you were paying attention, you saw me mess up on it a bunch. You saw me struggle to find the right notes. And then once I even found the right notes, I explained to you what the initial chord progression came from, which was that song. And so I'm trying to demystify it. Sometimes demystification can make you appreciate something less because the magical quality of it is gone. It almost becomes too human, too simple. Sometimes the demystification of something can make you appreciate it more, though. Right? Either the sun is a magic fireball sent from God, or it's a star. It's one of trillions of stars. Dean says, but Omni, you are magical, though, which is a really nice thing to say. Thank you, Dean. I am not. But I will receive that compliment. I accept that compliment. Nova is here. Welcome, 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 Nova. Gabriel says, I think usually if there is something that loses its charm the more you learn about it, maybe there is something initially wrong about it. An interesting point of view, Gabriel. Gabriel says, I had songs I used to like. The more I learned to hear, the more I realized how bad they were. Oh. Why not both, says Mohammed. Yes, why not both indeed? I feel like, for example, here's something that the more I learned about it, I appreciated it less. The music industry. Now, I could divulge deeply on why that is, but I won't. I will just say the more I learned about the music industry, the more I learned that it is about 90% industry, 10% music, instead of the other way around. or even 50-50. It's way more industry than it is music. The art itself, the music itself, doesn't matter nearly as much as people would like to believe it does, especially artists like myself. So that is something that the more I learned about it, the less I appreciated it. And then something that I appreciated more as I learned about it was that's a Perfume song. Something that I started appreciating more the more I learned about it was a piano. Since I'm playing a keyboard right now, but actually looking at a piano, the work that goes into building a piano, the amount of pressure and tension that those strings are under, how the hammers work when you open up a piano and you actually look at how the levers and the hammer, what the dampening, the felt on it and hitting the strings, and when you hold down the sustain pedal, what that does, how it lifts this huge thing. Understanding the mechanical integrity of a piano, once I learned more about it, it made me appreciate the piano as an instrument way more, and it made me, I think, play it a little bit better because I knew exactly what was happening on the inside when I hit something, when I hit a key. And since we're talking about this, a good example of something that went both ways is wrestling. So, pro wrestling, when I was a kid, I thought it was all real, as a lot of children do. Now, the more I learned about wrestling and realized that it was fake, it made me upset. I felt lied to. I felt deceived. So I became very anti-pro wrestling. I was like, screw it. It's all fake. That's not his real wife. He's not really bleeding. That's not a real funeral. The Undertaker isn't really dead. He's a very live man. He's alive the entire time, guys. They bring him out in a casket. He pretends to be dead. He pops up out of it. He's got this dude that comes out with him named Paul Bear that's carrying an urn that's empty. The whole thing is empty. It's all a lie. And I was like, oh, I hate wrestling now. And then I started thinking about wrestling. And I started looking beyond the lies. And I was like, you know what? These are athletes. And they do have to be in pretty good shape. And they have to, ham it up and pretend, to cry or pretend that their fiance just got, suplexed by, Vince McMahon or something. They have to pretend and they have to act and they have to also be in physical shape to perform, once or twice a week. So I came right around back on the flip side of it and I started appreciating wrestling again. Not because it was real, but because it took work in order to create the facade. It was entertainment, right? In the same way that a movie or a TV show is. You can appreciate it even though it is fake. Even though I know that Midsommar was a fictional tale, I can still appreciate the terror that it provided. Anyways, yeah, sometimes learning a lot about something can make you appreciate it. Sometimes it can make you appreciate it less. Isn't John Cena in some Silent Hill-esque nightmare sequence right now? Oh, maybe. Dean? I don't know. I don't really keep up with John. This is true, Muhammad. Perception is very important. Perception and perspective are so important that it can change the human experience and the human condition. So being in control of perspective and in control of perception is a very powerful position to be in. I mean, social media is perception. This stream is perception to a certain degree. You guys come into the stream all the time, so you think I know how to play piano. Maybe I don't know how to play piano. Maybe this is all an elaborate hoax, and this thing isn't actually plugged in. That would be such a good hoax. Oh, and I had somebody off to the side that was just kind of watching my hands and made sure to play something that went along with whatever I was saying. running later today. Like, I'm probably not going to end until around 10:30. I live in Los Angeles, Mohammed. You know what's funny? There's people that live in my neighborhood that never jog. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your perspective, because I live at the very end of my cul-de-sac and I have a window that looks down at like pretty much the entire street and neighborhood, I know who's out and about. And I know who has dogs, I know who walks their dogs, and there are people that were never out jogging that now since the quarantine that I see them jogging. It's like we're all just desperate for some outside time, and there's really nothing else to do out there. Lindsay says he's a mutt talking about their dog. I used to have dogs. That's really funny that it's consistent, Mohammed, in this many places. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of families going on walks, Leanna. Oh, by the way, that was Double Let's. That's Leanna's song. This next song is called French Lavender. I still haven't added a third phase to this song, but I mean, it technically already exists on my YouTube, so maybe it's too late to add other phases to it? I want to remind everybody, if they could take a second to like the video, I would appreciate it. It helps me. It helps my channel. It helps. It doesn't help my playing particularly, but I can lie to you and tell you it does if that'll help you like the video. I I, no, wait. I have had cashew butter before. There, I've had cashew butter, and it wasn't a like a peanut butter cup, like a chocolate peanut butter cup. It was like dark chocolate and cashew butter. I didn't love it, but I did like it. It's mostly because I'm not a big chocolate fan. I do like peanuts though. Shouts out to everybody who's allergic to peanuts. You're not missing much. You're not missing that much. I do like them though. I think I'll eat like a little sack of peanuts. Sack of peanuts? Like little 7-Eleven ones, like maybe once a year. That's my treat. That's like my candy. I did have boba twice yesterday. At least I think I did. I had boba twice yesterday. I did. Stew with cider and fried apples. Cloudless says, Omni, when is the next Omni Snacks? Oh, there is no next Omni Snacks. Oh, you haven't been around for a minute. Omni Snacks ended like a very long time ago. I want to say almost a full year ago, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that's over. There is no more of that ever happening. Fried apples is a thing I've had, but I'm trying to remember the context in which I had them. I think somebody just fried apples. It was like more of a dessert thing. They like fried apples and put like cinnamon and stuff on them. But that was a while ago. Mr. Mochi says, Omni, I'm going to sleep. Bye guys, bye Omni, bye Mr. Mochi. Thank you for being in the stream. I appreciate you. I actually didn't even know you were in here. So that's my bad, but I appreciate you for spending some time in the stream. I know it's very late for you. I was late to the stream today, and I apologize for that, Mr. Mochi, but I hope you get a lot of rest tonight. I hope you get a lot of rest tonight. Okay. Oh, thank you everybody. Hitting them with the farewells. You love to see it. somebody in the stream recognized it. I heard somebody say catching up. I just don't remember who it was. My apologies. I don't, Lindsay. Me neither, Maddie. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that I don't. That way I'll be surprised if I do. Claudia says, can I hear the backstory of Amnesia? The backstory as in how I made the song? Has anybody in here seen the video for Into Thin Air? The song that I just played? Okay, really quickly, Cloudless, yes, Amnesia was about bad experiences. There isn't really much to give you on the backstory, because I tell you in the lyrics. If you can understand the lyrics of the song, you have the backstory. I can tell you how I made the song, but most of my lyrics aren't too cryptic. They do get pretty cryptic in Daydream, to be fair. Not Daydream, sorry. Ego Death. They get a little cryptic. Particularly songs like Vanilla, I think are a little more cryptic. But I feel like Amnesia's pretty straightforward. Unless there's something specific you wanted to know. Muhammad says, you might have a thought or two on this. Taxes are required to be paid for the money. Paid on the money. Are you asking? I don't have any thoughts on it. Oh, wait. That was no. Muhammad says, giving people a universal basic income for the time being that comes from taxes we paid, and then requiring citizens to pay taxes on the $1,200. I really don't know. I think it's I'm trying not to say anything about it. Because for reasons. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep my nose out of it. But yeah, basically, the country is having some issues right now, and the government is supplying a lot of not great solutions, and I don't have the answers, so I don't know how to fix it, so I'm just watching the chaos. But I don't think $1,200 is going to fix this, but I have to keep in mind that I'm not talking even right now to a bunch of people that live in Los Angeles. $1,200 is not even my rent. Right? So even if somebody gave me $1,200, I'm not saying it wouldn't help, but I'm saying it wouldn't even be like a calm breath for a month. So that might be a huge amount of money for somebody else. So it's hard for me to say $1,200 is nothing, because $1,200 is like probably something to somebody, and I think it's insensitive for me to say that that won't help people. But I just know in my personal life, $1,200 is it's nothing. So I'm not going to talk about the ethics or economics that lie therein. I suppose just gonna mind my business and try to chill. Um, yeah, it's accurate. Yeah, but I'm a chill. I'm a chill on it. Dean says that they have not seen the Into Thin Air music video. Please watch it, Dean. I uploaded it specifically for you. Specifically for you, Dean. No. But please do watch it, Dean, because the when I played Into Thin Air, that's not actually the full arrangement. A much more in-depth arrangement is available on my YouTube, and I recorded a video for it. Same thing for French Lavender. You heard this song in the stream because I just finished playing it a while ago. Anyways, there's a more full version of that arrangement as well. There's like a lead that goes with it, and there's like this little bell pad, and I recorded a video for it. It's part of my quarantine series, which, by the way, it's Monday, so there is going to be another quarantine video tomorrow on YouTube. I usually release those videos to my social media before I do them on YouTube, because I don't count YouTube as my social media. I'll put like little abridged versions of them, because obviously there's a limit to how long a video can be on things like Instagram and even Twitter. So I'll put like a shorter version of it on those things, and then the next day I'll put them on to YouTube. Cloudless asks if I have a favorite TV show, which I do really appreciate that question. I don't have any favorites of anything, but somehow since we got to the YouTube stream where we have a pretty regular crowd, I don't get asked personal things like that anymore. So, do I have a favorite TV show? I do not. But there are a lot of TV shows I like. I can list. Let me list 10. That's fair, right? 10 TV shows I like. I like Altered Carbon. I like Ozark. I should probably not only name Netflix shows, but that's pretty much most of what I watch. Altered Carbon. I like Ozark. That's 2. Let me. Somebody on the stream keep count for me. I like Ozark. I like Altered Carbon. I like The Boys on Amazon Prime. I like Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon Prime as well. I like Thank You, Pixel Piggy. I like hiccups, Jesus. I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's a pretty divisive one, right? It's a very, very problematic show, but I enjoy it a lot. I like It's Always Sunny. I liked BoJack while it was still happening. That was a pretty big one for me. I like Gravity Falls. It's been over for a long time, but it's still a very solid show. Just so that I'm not naming only like really adult stuff, I also happen to like Gravity Falls. There's a show called it's called like Something Row, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's like fairy tale creatures and like a weird like steampunky type London. Something Row. But I like that show also. What am I at now? I'm at 8? I'm at 9. And I couldn't remember the name of the row show, so number 10 is going to be Carnival Row. Thank you, Tommy. Yes, Carnival Row. I think it's called that anyway. But I mean, you said it, so yeah, that's 10. Those are 10 shows that I like. Cloudless was asking what my favorite TV show was. Cloudless, thing to know about me, I don't have any favorites of anything. I don't have a favorite TV show, color, or anything like that. Isadora is naming some shows now. Friends, The Office, Fleabag. I still haven't watched Fleabag. The Office, solid show. Friends, solid show. I know that it's very, very popular to hate both of these shows. The Office is seen as like sorry about that. My apartment started shaking and it scared me for a second. I think it was just like a small earthquake. Um, what crap? What was I talking about? Oh yeah. People like to hate on The Office and Friends, but the thing is, I think people hate on Friends retroactively. It's very easy to hate on something retroactively and go, oh, this show was really bad, or this show was racist, or this show was sexist. But it was a product of its time. So I think that Friends is actually a really good show. Can I watch it now and still enjoy it? Nah, I mean, I can enjoy parts of it, but I think it's amazing. I think it's an amazing show. And so did The World, because it's one of those. It's like Friends, Seinfeld, The Office, and I don't know, Breaking Bad. There's like I feel like we have like a few big shows that the world just fell in love with. But yeah, those are good too. Isidore, good suggestions. I rewatched almost all of Friends last year. I don't really like the end. Oh, I hate the ending of Friends. Make no mistake, Leona. I hate the ending of Friends, but I like it as a show in general. And that's also the show that I found Paul Rudd from, which is like, I love Paul Rudd. I have not watched Unorthodox. Anime favorites though? I don't really watch anime anymore, but oh, that's hard. I don't watch enough anime to even really be able to pick out ones that I like amongst the others. Mohammed, I think that I watch on average one anime series every 2 years. And sometimes it's not good, right? I recently watched something called Carol and Tuesday, and while I did enjoy it, I don't feel like it is something that really aligns with me and the type of person that I am. But I did watch it, and I experienced it. And then before that, I hadn't watched an anime since I don't know. I just don't really watch anime that much anymore. It was a big part of my life, like back in like high school. It just isn't anymore. A lot of it was a very girly show. Yes, Liana. A lot, a lot of my, hmm, a lot of what caused me to watch anime so religiously when I was in high school. A lot of those parts of me are gone. So the things in me that truly enjoyed anime back then, I don't have anymore. I don't have the patience for most anime, right? I can't sit and devote hundreds of hours of my life to something. It's hard for me to do that. I mean, I'm sitting in front of something that I've devoted hundreds of hours of my life to, but this makes me money, and this is a skill. Watching anime, I wouldn't necessarily call a skill. I don't want to have that conversation. But I feel like, even when I look at the anime that I liked, for example, for the most part, when I look at something like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z was long and meandering, and we all agree it went on longer than it should have. It's still happening, right? It went on longer than it should have, and the plot is ridiculous. And it's not so much that it's well written, it's just kind of exciting, and it has a lot of spectacle. And I think there was a time in my life where I didn't necessarily care about writing or things being succinct. I cared about having something to do because I was bored. So, oh, this is great because earlier, like a few streams ago, we were talking about games having replayability. That's something I used to care about. Replayability. Replayability. And it was because I didn't have anything else to do. So I would watch anime because I didn't have anything else to do. I was just happy to get a new episode. When an anime ended, I would actually get sad. I was like, oh, this is the last episode? Wah! Now what am I supposed to do? It was actually upsetting to me. And then I got to the point where I felt happy because I was juggling several anime. You know, they would come out and I would watch this episode, watch this episode, watch this episode, and I always had something to do. I no longer have holes in my life that I have to just fill with entertainment necessarily. So now, when a new anime comes out or somebody says, you need to watch this anime, my first question is always, how far is it in? And is it over? And if it's not over, typically I don't even start watching it. Typically, if I'm like, is it over? And they're like, no, it's ongoing. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to watch it. Let me know when it's over. And then, on top of that, if it's over, I'm like, how long is it? How much of my time am I going to have to devote to this thing? If they're like, oh, it's only 80-something episodes, I'm like, I can't watch it. If they're like, oh, it's 60-something episodes, I'm sorry, I cannot watch it. I cannot do it. I can't do it. I just don't have that anymore. I don't even have that in TV shows. There's a TV show called Supernatural that I used to love. I think I watched the first, like, 7 seasons? 6 seasons? Could I do that today? Absolutely not. So much of that show is just fluff and filler. It doesn't really go anywhere most of the time. There are a lot of really good moments, lots of funny things, lots of spectacle, lots of cool things happen. But overall, it's just entertainment. It's not a lot of like to the point storytelling. And so it's hard for me to devote that time to it. Oh yeah. One Piece is way too long. One Piece is like maybe the worst example. I haven't really gotten into the grits of. Oh, I love it when you say in the grits. I love that somebody else says that. That's the thing I say. Anyways, Liana says, I haven't really gotten to the grits of JoJo. There's just so much to catch up on. Yeah, I don't like playing catch up. Gabriel says most anime today is 12 to 24 episodes. I don't know if most anime today is 12 to 24 episodes, but I don't have any facts to back that up, so I'm gonna just take your word for it. Cloudless says, I don't really watch TV anymore. It gets repetitive sometimes in my opinion. Says Cloudless, that makes sense. I agree with you. Never even bothered to sit and watch Shippuden. Thank you, Alpha. Me neither. I never finished Naruto. It went on far too long and I didn't care about any of the characters anymore. Samurai Champloo is a good length. Yes, it was, Alpha. Yes, I don't... I don't really want to... Oh no, this is turning into the... It's turning into one of those streams. Okay, so... Somebody... Wait, let me not just say somebody. Well, the chat's gone on so far that they're commenting up, so I don't know. Oh, it was Liana. Liana says, only really popular ones go beyond 24. I like Liana a lot. Okay, JoJo is slightly easier to get into because each chunk season is different art style. Liana says, only really popular ones go beyond 24 episodes. That is at its core my problem with anime. Now, earlier in the stream when I was talking about TV shows I mentioned Gravity Falls. The creator of Gravity Falls, I don't know how much truth there is to this because I don't trust anybody, really. But they said that they had already planned out the entire story, and no matter how successful it was, they were going to end on this episode at this story point. They weren't going to let it keep going far beyond a point in which it is fresh and interesting, i.e. Adventure Time. No offense to Adventure Time. And so... the problem is, usually when something doesn't go beyond 24 episodes, usually, it's because it's not good. Much like you said, the really popular ones will exceed 24. When something gets really popular, it usually means because people like it. Usually, when people like something, it means it's good. So in anime, typically, the things that are good get stretched a lot. And I don't have, like I said, the time and energy to just devote my time to a thing that has no end in sight. A thing that's going to go into filler. The things that I like about Gravity Falls, or even watching an anime, because Gravity Falls wasn't an anime. I could say this about, I guess, maybe Steins Gate. I could say this about Samurai Champloo. There are some anime out there that really did like knock it out in like 24 or less episodes. But if you couldn't do that, I'm not watching it anymore. I'm an adult and I have a lot to do. I have a lot to do with my day and my time. Even now in quarantine, I'm not gonna get hooked on some new anime. So that is why when we were talking about having a favorite anime, I can't even really list a lot of anime that I like that have come out in the past decade because most of the anime that I enjoyed I came out and I devoted time to them and watched them when I had nothing better to do. And now that I have like actual obligations, I do require specific things from not just anime, also TV shows, video games, movies not so much because a movie can only be so long, but perhaps a movie series. I'm not gonna watch a movie series that's like 8 movies long if I'm not really into the idea behind it. Um, I would disagree with that, says Gabriel. Oh, I'm not sure what you're disagreeing with, but I'm gonna assume it's me, so I'm gonna read it. I disagree with that. A lot of originals are only 12 to 24. Usually, auteur pieces are kept only to 24 episodes. Dragon Maid only goes to 12 episodes. Kill la Kill goes to 24. So is Bebop. Oh, I like Bebop. Well, you're naming. That's rough, Gabriel, because I feel like you're naming a lot of good and very succinct ones. But I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to play devil's advocate with you on that. I'm just going to take you. I'm going to take your word for it and say that most of their anime are also like that. But I'm still going to err on the side of that I don't have time for most of them. A story has to be pretty succinct and told for me to watch an anime. So I mean that's all we'll say. Anime because of its because of the style. Not all anime, right? We're not saying all of anything, but most anime has a tendency to meander and to include tropes that are very specific to anime, tropes that I have now and my lifestyle or age or whatever find very annoying. So it's hard for me to take a story and try to ignore all the things about it that I can't stand in order to like dig and find the one gem and go, oh, Kill la Kill is good, I guess. It's really hard for me to do that. Now, back at a different time, I used to be able to do that very well. Just like we were talking about going back and looking at something like Rush Hour, right? Back when I really liked it, it was easy to look at it and go, "This is amazing." Now looking back at it, when I'm a little bit more choosy and picky about my time and where I put it, I can look at something like a Rush Hour film and go, like, "That scene was an absolute waste of time," or "That didn't add anything to the plot. Why did that happen?" I can do that now, and now that I can do that, it renders a lot of anime pretty unenjoyable for me personally. I will say that. Gabriel says there exists an anime that is a compilation of shorts. Every episode is a short film and completely separated from one another. Animatrix Genius. Oh yeah, there are lots of those. I mean, there's lots of just shows like that. I actually watched something called 72 Seconds recently. That's live action, but also anthological and succinct in its storytelling. That is a thing. There's also something called, what was it, like something in robots? Love, was it Love, Sex, and Robots? Love, Guns, and Robots, or something like that? Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of shows like that. It's also hard for me to get into shows like that, though. Without like an overarching, I guess, thing that I can attach myself to. I don't know. It's really hard. Having the anime discussion is always really hard, especially with people that are particularly passionate about anime, because it's hard for me to get them to look at it from my perspective. But whatever. Um, Maddie says, "Love, Death, and Robots." Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate you. What I'm hearing, says Mohammed, is that you know clearly what it is you want out of things you engage. Yeah. That's probably pretty healthy, right? Just knowing what you want. I feel like what I want out of anime, out of video games, out of movies, out of books, out of just narrative. I want clear storytelling. Have you ever gotten to the end of a game or a movie or a book or whatever? You've gotten to the end of a story and you had this overwhelming sense of like, wow, whoever told this story knew the story they were trying to tell. It wasn't like they had a rough idea and they just started like filling in gaps and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, here's this character, here's this cute, I don't know, lolly character for no reason. Or in a game where it's like, oh, here's a puzzle aspect in this dungeon for no reason other than that we need to like pad in extra time and add a puzzle aspect that doesn't really belong. Sometimes that can take me completely out of the experience of the narrative. Games have done that to me. There's been times where I've been playing a game and I'm like, oh, this story's really great, and then I have to start grinding. Like old Final Fantasies are like this, and I'm like, great. I would love to progress this story, but I gotta go and kill a bunch of random monsters in the field before I can do that. It's really tough for me. It wasn't tough for me as a kid, again, because I had time to blow. Now I just don't have time to blow away, so it's hard for me to do that. Claudia says the thing with anime is it annoys me when they do the fan service stuff, and it bothers me that they do it so often. Oh, when fan service starts, I usually stop watching something. I usually will stop watching something. So there's that. There's that. Unless it's a movie. I mean, because a movie's typically only like 2 hours, so I'm like, I can stand to lose 2 hours out of my day. Week, I'll say. I can stand to lose 2 hours out of my week. But typically anime is not 2 hours, so it's a lot. It's the nature of anime that it's produced quickly and the story is often meh unless it's got good manga source, lots of funding. Yes, Liana, the odds are stacked against them. Also, like a lot of studios that make anime aren't extremely profitable. I understand all of the constraints that go into making anime typically uninteresting to me. I know that it's not like somebody's singling me out and they're like, screw on, we're gonna make this thing mad, annoying, and stupid. There's gonna be a beach episode for no reason. And then, I don't know, we passed the manga, so let's just make the story wacko for no reason and make it not make sense. I understand that. Because I read Hellsing, loved Hellsing, and then I watched the Hellsing anime, the old one, and it was trash. And then I watched the OVA, and it was amazing. The OVA was way shorter, and it was more succinct and tied to the literature. Whereas the initial anime was just trash. I mean, shouts out to everybody who made it. It looked pretty. Narratively, it was garbage. So I feel that way about a lot of anime, and it's hard, right? It's hard because as somebody creating a TV show or an anime, once you catch up with the literature, you can't just stop. Well, I mean you can, but usually you don't just stop. You go into filler and you wait for more, story so that you can pick up where you left off. But unfortunately, my brain doesn't care. My brain just knows what's not fun. JB2X says, Omni, what can I do to convince you to watch Kimono Friends? Give me a premise, JB. Mohammed says, a new question. George says, have you watched Mr. Robot or Peaky Blinders? I haven't seen either one of those, but both have been recommended to me. Mr. Robot more than Peaky Blinders. This is true, Cloudless. This happens. That's the algorithm for you. Word. Peaky Blinders. On topic of Hellsing. I always found the jazzy soundtrack to be rather jarring to the rather messed up grisly settings. I've never heard somebody say grizzly. Like, I've never, had a person, message me the word grizzly. That's so dope. Thanks, Tommy. I think that, bye, Liana. Thank you for being on the stream. I appreciate you, as always. I'm glad I was able to squeeze in double let's. Mohammed says, what do you feel about most important thing in your day experience at this stage in your... Okay, let me back up really quick, because this sounds like it's going to be a heady one. First, to Tommy, about the juxtaposition of jazzy music and gruesome, grisly settings. This is a thing that has been used so much, and we love it. We being, I don't know, America, because America can't stop doing it. There's a lot of pairing of horror with American songbook, and a lot of pairing of really disturbing imagery with jazz, especially if the disturbing imagery is like upbeat. Um, and I would love to dive into that because there's a very, very important reason for that. But I can't dive into that right now because we're already getting late in the stream. And Muhammad is saying, what do you feel is the most important thing in your day to day experience at the stage in your life? Jesus Christ. Um, okay. Muhammad, I try not to place superlatives on things, right? I try not to say this is my favorite anime, or this is my most important thing, or this is the yummiest pizza in the world. I try not to do that in general. So, I will say there is not one part of my day or one thing in my day to day experience that is the most important. I do have a lot of importance on connection. Connection interaction. Now that's so vague, right? That it can encompass a lot of things. I think being able to connect with people is something that I need to be able to do. And I didn't realize exactly how important that thing was to me until I started going to other countries where I don't speak the language. Now, my mom's side of the family has a lot of French ties, so I have aunts and cousins who live in France. When I was in high school, I got to visit them. It was very, very nice. I was able to speak French, so it wasn't a big deal. When 2 years ago, I got to go on tour to Japan, completely foreign country. I was the first time in Asia, and obviously foreign language. There was a language barrier. I can't speak a little bit of Japanese, not enough to be cool, but enough to get around. And so I was able to guide myself around town. And then going to Korea last year on tour, it was my first time actually being in a country where I didn't at all understand the local language. I didn't know anything. It wasn't until I got back from Korea that I learned the 2 or 3 Korean words I know now. At the time, I knew nothing. And so, I will say, when I went to France, first of all, my French improved pretty greatly because I was hearing it every day. When I went to Japan, my Japanese improved because I was hearing it every day and I was able to communicate with people. And being able to communicate with people felt so good. And I realized, I thought at the time it felt good because, oh, I can speak this language. Oh, that I thought it was a more internal, I'm impressed with myself thing. Like it was, I'm patting myself on the back because I successfully told this person that I wanted a table for one at Mossburger. But after going to Korea, I realized it had actually nothing to do with me being able to speak the language. It had everything to do with me being able to connect with somebody. Being able to connect with people is a thing that I have taken for granted a lot of my life because I have a very big family. I have 9 brothers and sisters. I have 2 parents that were not always home, but they were always together. Well, not always. Well, I don't want to get into my whole family thing, but I have a very big family. And so I was always around them. I was always in schools. I always kind of belonged to neighborhoods, much like the neighborhood that I live in now, where your neighbors are just very involved in your life and you can hear them and they can hear you. They're waving at you through your window. I've always felt almost accosted by constant stimuli from people, connecting with people, learning things about people. Somebody bringing me into their house and going, this is a taco. This is a burrito. This is my dad. My dad's Puerto Rican. And me going like, oh, interesting. And I'm like, what's that like? And they're like, this is the flag. This is the Puerto Rican flag. This is, you know, being able to share experiences. Somebody being like, this is how we make food. This is this. This is that. Hey, this is how you do a kickflip. Being able to have like real connection and interactions with people is very important to me. And it is something that I have fostered in my life. Even now, it's like I moved to LA. I don't live with any of my family anymore. My family doesn't live within 100 miles of me. I still, when I'm going to go somewhere, I have a car. Most of you guys know this. Most of you have seen my car. I have a Volkswagen Jetta. I drive it around when I have to. If I'm going to go play a show or something like that. But when I'm just going to be going someplace in LA, I don't really drive my car. I always get on the subway or I'll get on the bus. Because being in my car is basically me going from sitting in my room alone to being in a box on wheels by myself and then going to a restaurant where I sit down at a table by myself and I eat my food. I need to get on a bus I need to get on a subway. I need to walk on the streets. I need to go through a train station. I need to walk through a park, and I need to have other people, and I also need to connect with those people to some degree. It doesn't need to be a conversation. It doesn't need to be a high five. It doesn't need to be a compliment or a fight. Sometimes it could just be a head nod. Sometimes it could be a shared laugh over something ridiculous that we see. Sometimes it could just be observing the weather with somebody, like, wow, it's been really gloomy here, hasn't it? And I'm going like, yeah, it has been. Those are the things that are very important to me, Muhammad. And so when you say what is something that is most important in my day-to-day experience, having gone to a place like Korea and not been able to speak any of the language and not even being able to really connect with people, that was the first time I've gone to a foreign country and not really been able to just walk in and connect with a stranger. That, for how long was I there? 3 days, 4 days? Those 4 days were amazing because I was in Korea, but also incredibly lonely because I couldn't connect with anybody. And so I would say, Muhammad, that connecting with other people, different people, new people is very important. Even if I was, locked inside of a gymnasium with 300 people, I would still kind of, after I got to know those 300 people, I need to know more. I gotta go, like, outside and experience a stranger. I like being, especially when there's a different perspective, I like seeing the different perspective. I don't want to hang out with a bunch of musicians, right? I don't want to hang out with a bunch of artists all the time. It's what I do because it's LA and that's what my social circle is now. But sometimes it's nice to just be able to connect with a lot of things. That was a very long answer. Good question, though. Good question, Mohammed. Okay. Cloudless says, do you think you were ever going to visit Utah one day? I have visited Utah several times. I used to play in a band called The Crush, and I played in a place called Logan, Utah. And then we played in Salt Lake City, but I actually enjoyed playing in Logan more because Logan had a more small town feel, I guess, which reminded me of this place, Guadalupe in Arizona, that I grew up in. And I made like this really cool friend in Utah, this really cool friend. Yeah. I ended up buying my first longboard also in Logan, Utah, and I still have it today. And the guy that worked in the shop, his name was Clark. He signed it. He signed it with like a silver Sharpie, and still to this day, this was a very long time ago. I should say I didn't live in LA when this happened. The signature is still there, and even though I don't ride the longboard anymore, I kept it because I don't know. I like to think wherever he is, he's having a good time. But yeah. Utah's cool. Utah's cool. I don't know if I could ever live there, but it is very pretty. It's like a cleaner Arizona. Word up, Mohammed. I'm glad that you appreciate the detailed response. Maddie says, it's such an interesting topic. I do value my alone time so much, but I also need that connection with people to feel sane. It's a balance that everyone has to figure out. Absolutely. Maddie, my balance is being alone in public places. I love being alone in public places. Oh, I love traveling by myself. I love going out by myself. But the places have to be crowded. I love like going to New York and just. There's been so many times where I've been in New York and I've just left. Like I've had a day off, and I've just left my hotel and I've just walked all day. I just walk random places. I eat stuff. I look at stuff. I see a sign for something. I'll go inside a place. Just exploring. That stuff is very important to me, and I have to do it alone. I prefer to not be accompanied when I do these things. Yeah. Cloudless says, I feel like you can be alone to an extent that you need to have at least some contact to feel human. Yeah, you can be alone and have some contact. There's a happy medium. But I think being alone in public places is like really my like thing. That's what I love. Would you consider it a form of meditation, says Mohammed? Yes. I actually used to meditate on the subway every day on my way to work. I used to work at IKEA, which, if you live in Los Angeles and you know where I live, you know where Burbank, which is where IKEA is, it is not a very easy, because I have to take the bus all the way. I have to take the bus all the way west into the central of LA, then I have to take it north out into the valley to get to Burbank. So one way, it's roughly 2 to 2.5 hours. And for the entire first hour of the bus ride, I would have my eyes closed and I would just sit still, and I would kind of try to just like block everything out and relax and kind of prepare myself for the day. So I would say that it is kind of a form of meditation. We can refer to anything as a form of meditation. Playing piano can be a form of meditation, but I think that being in public places by myself, it puts me in such a good space, which is why I work in that space. Usually, like for right now, I'm making a score. I'm doing a score to a video game, and I have some options. I can work in the office where all the other people are working, all the other developers, or I can work in my home, in my bedroom where all my keyboards are. Or my third option is I can go and work in a public space where I'm not surrounded by coworkers, but I am surrounded. I'll usually go into a boba tea place, and that's where I get most of my work done. Not just for like the video game thing, but even just for personal stuff. Like a lot of my music is made in tea shops. A lot of my videos that you've seen are edited in tea shops. And so now during this lockdown, when I can't go to remote places to work, it has crushed my productivity. Like it's very, very hard for me to work in my home or in my living room, in my kitchen. I need to get out to get work done, but the office is closed, and so are the shops. So I'm just kind of trying to make do in here. Mandy says I like traveling alone because it allows me to be in charge of. It allows you to be in charge of your schedule and how you want to experience the people and place you're in. That's exactly it, Maddie. Hit the nail on the head. Mohammed says I'm most definitely music, artistry in a form of creating for me is a deep meditation. Word up, Mohammed. That's good. It should be. Um, JB2X is giving me the synopsis of the, I assume, anime that they were recommending for me to watch. Cloudless says, I was going to ask, how does the quarantine make you feel about your social activities? It's pretty stifling, to say the least. Cloudless. JB2X says, animals made into humans called friends. Oof, okay. Okay. I'm going to keep reading. I just want to let you know, JB2X, I'm feeling repelled at this point in the synopsis. I keep going. Because of a mysterious meteor that landed in some zoo island. No actual real humans found anywhere in sight. You follow the story of a new unknown friend. Okay. I've come back to neutral. I don't want to watch this thing, but I don't not want to watch this thing. But you say it doesn't have any of the tropes that I loathe. You don't know all the tropes that I loathe, but the fact that it seems to be lacking any tropes is a plus for me. And the writing is hurtful. I feel repelled a little bit, but I think the reason I feel repelled is because something called, like where there's like animals, they're called friends. I feel like there's a cute factor, and usually, like when my cute senses are tingling, I need to leave. I need to vacate. I don't like things that are, I don't want to say, earnestly cute. There is indeed a cute factor. Ugh. All right. Word. I think that, allow me to explain. Chloe says, Omni hates cute things. World building. Okay. World building is very important to me, JB2X, so thank you for mentioning that. That is very important. Altered Carbon has some amazing world building. I think that it's not that I hate cute things, but I think that cuteness. I like spicy food, right? We all know I like spicy food. You know what I don't necessarily care for? Is things being crunchy. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like crunchy things. It just means that I don't really care how crunchy something is. If somebody goes, you gotta have the fries here, they're so crunchy. And I go, well, yeah, but like, I don't care about that. Is it good though? Are the fries good? Or they say, you gotta have this potato chip. It's extremely crunchy. You're gonna love it. I'll go, well, what's the flavor? What's it taste like? I don't care how crunchy it is. I mean, that's cool, but what does it taste like? And I feel like cute is crunchy to me. I just don't care if something's cute to other people because I know I'm not going to particularly appreciate or notice the cute factor. And so if something being cute is the reason why somebody watches something, usually it's not a strong basis to recommend the thing to me. Yeah, true, Maddie. True, 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 true. The main element that sells me on things is things being painfully real. Something painfully real, I guess, is like the family dynamic in a show like Ozark, or if we're going with animated things, BoJack. I like when things are kind of embedded in a real world. And I think that's funny to say because BoJack is literally about a talking horse. But I mean embedded in real world as far as like actions and consequences. Mm. And it's not a thing that I get from a lot of anime I watch or have seen, not watch actively. Okay, like the old Powerpuff Girls, due to it being cute, but also pretty violent, pretty darn violent, kind of balances out, whereas the reboot has no action and isn't funny. I haven't seen the reboot, so I don't know, but I like your review of it, Tommy. JB says the cute in this is the frosting of the cake. That's the actual content of it, skin deep and such. How many episodes, JB? Oh, or 11. You're convincing me. I'm very hungry. This show made a grown man cry. Ooh, you're losing me now. You're losing me. I don't know why Muhammad is talking about Hitchhiker's Guide, but I do love that book series. I did read all of them. Too much content is lost on the movie. Absolutely. Oh my god. All right, JP and me might be more aligned as far as opinions. Maybe I do need to watch this thing. Yeah. I agree that a lot was lost in the movie, but I still enjoyed the movie because they did what they could. They did the best they could with trying to compile that much weird nonsense into one film. Yeah, there is indeed a movie, Muhammad. Most Def is in the movie, actually. Most Def is in the movie, and that white guy. That dude, you know who I'm talking about. The dude. Guys, you know his name. Are we near the 2 hour mark? I'm so sorry, guys. Alright. No, we're at an hour and a half. We're at an hour and a half. We're at an hour and a half. I started the stream late today. Dark Row. I did not start on time at 9 o'clock. I started closer to 9:20. Um, if you have a oh, I like that. I like that Pixel Piggy. I like that. Wow, Martin Freeman. That's his name. He's in everything you love. Black Panther. Wow, the crows are really circling today. Anyways, oh my God, they really are. What the heck, guys? Is that a good omen? Anyways, sorry. I couldn't stop hearing them. And turns out they're having a little circle party. Okay. I do need to start closing things down because it has been an hour and a half. And you know, it's only supposed to be an hour. There's going to be a new video put up on my social media today. Not on my YouTube though. YouTube is for tomorrow. Also, there's going to be a stream tomorrow at 9 a.m. as always. We're going to go over some news though right now. What little of it there is. Yes, Mohammed, thank you. If everybody could like the stream, I would appreciate that. Okay. As far as shows, as far as songs, as far as merch, and as far as tours, I have nothing to announce. As far as streams, I'm here every weekday at 9 a.m. I missed a stream last week, so I did a makeup stream on Saturday. I'm not going to do that this week. We're going to stay on schedule this week. And as far as online stuff that I'm doing, I am going to be playing a little thing on Zoom today. It's this evening, actually. But I'll give you guys more information on that when I get it, and I'm probably going to give it to you guys through Instagram. I'll be sharing all that stuff through Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it. If not, I don't know. I'll see you here tomorrow, I guess. As far as songs, I do have a new song out called The View. It's on all the streaming platforms, and I have two EPs. One is called Quick Breath, the other one is called Ego Death. I worked very hard on them, and I worked with some very talented musicians and vocalists by the names of Mia Gladstone, Abby Prez, Only Tom, and Young Skirt. You can find those EPs on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. You can also find Nice Dream there, Love Dream there. You can find Daydream there. You can find Lush Dream there. You can find Signals there. You can find House of Omni there. I have a lot of music out, but I typically only promote the most recent two at the end of the streams. A group called Owl. A group of owls is called a parliament. That's interesting. I actually didn't know that. Or if I did know, I forgot. Mama says, I know. I thought you meant by murder. Oh, murder of crows. Indeed. Oh, Alpha has me on Twitter post notifications. That's actually really nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. I think that wraps up most, if not all, of the news. I think that is all of the news. Is Lindsay still here? Ooh. Oh, Lindsay left. Well, I will not finish this. I'll play the first few chords for it. I will do that, Alpha. Thank you very much. Appreciate you as always. I'll let you guys know the information on the Zoom stream for this evening. And I'll try to fit in a production stream at some point this week, too, because I feel like we haven't done one in a while. This song is called Hush Hour. It's the song that signals the ending of the stream. I hope everybody's doing well in the quarantine. I don't know where you all live. Here in the States, it seems to be pretty bad, maybe compared to some other places. So, if you live here in the States, I hope you're doing okay. If you don't, I hope your state or your government is taking care of you to some degree. And I hope you stay healthy. Word. Thank you everybody for also waiting on me. I know I was a little bit late to the stream today. I'll try to be better about that. Be on time tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for being respectful to me and polite to each other. Really good conversations today in the chat. And thank you for liking the stream. We got the stream up to a very healthy 14 likes, and I appreciate that. I really do. I'll see you guys here tomorrow morning for morning medley number 113. Abo, everyone.